welcome to the Husky Heritage Podcast, where I interview people from around the world that go to our school. Today I'm here with Huixin Chen, and she's from China. Where in China are you from?
So the province I'm from is Guangdong, but the city is Guangzhou, and the general area is Taishan.
Were you born there or here?
I was born there, but I moved here when I was around 3 or 4.
Do you visit there a lot?
Not a lot. I actually haven't been back since I came here, but my family are always going back, like my grandparents and my dad as well. I just haven't had the chance for myself.
What dialects of Chinese do you speak?
So there are a few because in China there's a lot, but because I'm Cantonese, I can speak Cantonese, and then the area I'm from, Taishanese, it's very similar to Cantonese. It's just slightly different, but I would say they're mostly the same, and then Mandarin, of course.
What does your culture revolve around?
Well, we're very family-oriented from the way we eat to the values that we have. Like in China, we all have our bowl of rice, but we have family-style dishes where we will share different vegetables and meat and stuff. So overall, our culture just revolves around our family.
What are some of those dishes?
Well, usually what we have is like one meat and then multiple vegetable dishes. We'll eat like a roast chicken for special occasions, maybe like birthdays or holidays. And we'll eat some, in Chinese they're called Thai, and those are vegetables. They're usually stir fried. You'll have like bok choy or green beans.
What are your favorite foods?
So in my culture, when kids are younger, they'll be very picky, but they'll still eat everything on their plate because we don't like to waste food. When I was a kid, we ate bitter melon a lot, and it's a vegetable, and we would stir fry it with either chicken or eggs. When I was younger, I didn't like bitter melon, but now that I grew up, I actually really have a taste for it, and even though other kids my age still don't like bitter melon, I've grown to really like it.
What about favorite dishes?
Well, a lot of the dishes I like are really spicy. Even my mom makes fun of me for it because even though she's Chinese, her spice tolerance isn't as high as mine. But I love mapo tofu. And we eat a lot of noodles for lunch. So we'll eat like spicy noodles, especially stir-fried ones. And just spicy dishes, really.
What is in mapo tofu?
So mapo tofu is we usually use very soft tofu, and we'll stir fry it with chili oil and chilies, and then we'll usually have green onions and a sort of meat, usually pork. A lot of our foods are stir fried, and so we just put it in a wok, which is a certain type of pan, and we'll cut up the tofu into like bite-sized pieces. We'll add chili oil and then the meat and then the green onions for garnish.
What are some big traditions that your culture celebrates?
So Chinese New Year is the biggest one for sure. And in America, we don't really celebrate Chinese New Year, especially because we don't have any days off from school. So as a family, we'll just go out to eat. But in China, they get a lot of days off, and because they're very family-oriented, they'll spend a lot of days with their family. But Chinese New Year for us, we just pass out red envelopes and we eat dinner as a family.
What are some of the main foods that are at that dinner?
So, like I said, because I'm Cantonese, we'll eat steamed fish because that's good luck for prosperity. But I've also heard of people eating noodles because they represent longevity, and dumplings are also very common.
Do you remember celebrating any of those traditions when you were a kid in China?
Not when I was a kid because I was so little, but my mom still loves to tell me stories about how fun it was for all of our family members to gather at the house, and for the women to help with the cooking, and for the men to chat and play different games. But she loves to say that in China, we're a very big family and we celebrated very hard.
Based off what your mother has told you, what are some of the main differences between here and there?
Well, like I said, in China, there's a huge emphasis on family, and that's actually what shaped all of my goals and values. And when there's an emphasis on family, there's also an emphasis on age. So we'll have a lot of respect for people older than us. We'll have certain words that we'll say around people that are older than us. and we'll treat them differently with a lot more respect too. However, in America, I don't really see that because we're all very casual no matter what age we are.
What are some stories that have been passed down through your family, if there are any?
So, not personal stories, but a lot of folktale stories, like for the Moon Festival or the Mid-Autumn Festival. We'll have the story about Chang'e, who was like the emperor's wife, and she floated up to the moon. And there's a legend that you can still see her then.
What motivated you to be the president of the Asian Culture Club?
So before this year, I realized that I was not in touch with my culture as I wanted to be. Not just with my culture, but also with people similar to my culture. And I realized that if I had something to motivate me into learning more about my culture and other people's culture, I would definitely feel a lot better about the person I am and the culture that I am a part of. So I decided to be president so I could learn more about myself, but also help other people learn more about themselves and their culture.
What are some of the things you do in the club?
So every meeting will revolve around not a country in specific, but definitely an Asian activity. For one of our clubs, we did an origami like lesson, and we made origami flowers, and that meeting was for Japan. For another one of our meetings, we did a Chinese lantern meeting for Chinese New Year, where we made different Chinese lantern crafts, and that was to learn about Chinese culture. But on the Instagram, we also celebrate different kinds of culture, Chinese New Year, of course, but also things like Diwali and a bunch of different cultural holidays.
How do you think experiences in another culture has affected your life?
Well, as I've mentioned, most of my values are from my family, and I care a lot about what they think, and I really want to make them proud. Because our culture is very family-oriented, I've learned to place them above most of the things in my life. And so when coming to things like choosing my future partner or the school I'll go to in the future, I think a lot about if I'll be able to keep in contact with my family and if I'll be close to them and if this is what would make them proud.
This has been Angelina Habib and Huixin Chen on the Husky Heritage Podcast. Thank you for listening.